sports fans, and welcome to Pop Culture Graveyard. With me, as always, is Dave Horowitz. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Hollis.
And I am Hollis James. And this week, we're bringing you a bit of a left turn because it's something that was produced this century. It is Ted Lasso. The basic plot of Ted Lasso, it's basically a fish out of water story. He is an American football coach from a college in, is it Kansas, Dave?
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, Kansas. And the show is all about the hijinks that ensue when he is transplanted to London, England, to become the head coach of a football team, aka soccer, aka footy.
By the name of AFC Richmond.
Yes, AFC Richmond. Its series of culture clashes and personality clashes bring a lot of comedy to the table, and it's why Dave is a big fan of the show, correct?
That would do it.
I have avoided this series like the plague, not for any other reason, but that my wife and I watch a lot of things on our Apple TV, and Jason Sudeikis' face has been brick-walled, New York City subway car style, on the Apple TV for a couple of years now, nonstop. He's inescapable. So much so that I was like, fuck that show. You obviously you don't watch it on Apple TV, or you did not have that feeling about the advertising, and you've been a fan for a while.
I can't get enough Sudeikis. Sudeikis
More
and
face.
Sudaka. Those are my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah. Calendar boy.
But I do like him though. Ever since that bit, the Running Man bit on Saturday Night Live.
That is the highlight of his comedy career to me.
It's fantastic. It's What's Up With That?
Yep. What's Up With That?
He was the tracksuit dancer on What's Up With
he's
That.
He's like the hype man dancer. He even breaks out that character.
They work it into the
grade
show.
on Ted Lasso in a flashback to his college coaching career or whatever. So anyway, Dave is well-versed in the series. For this podcast, I binged as far as I could, and I got up through season 2, the Christmas episode, which I feel comfortable in telling you, I feel like I watched one episode too long, because the Christmas episode, I just wanted to kill somebody halfway through. It became so sickeningly cloying, and it became like saccharine, an excerpt from Love Actually. It was just nonstop sugar, and I hated it. The ending of that episode, I just wanted to take a hostage. I was very angry.
I watched that episode because you told me approximately how far along you were. You said, I'll probably stop around the Christmas episode, which I'm coming up on. I watched that episode increasingly nervous about how you were feeling about it. Yeah. And then a fake Santa sleigh went across the sky, and I was like, oh, Hollis just kicked his television.
I'm out. I will say this. I was pleasantly surprised, and it's a credit to the series that I probably will go back in. And I'm treating the Christmas episode like an anomaly. And for all I know, it aired separately from the series, or it made itself separate somehow. It's self-contained. It's not like a lot of storylines continue through it. It's its own little episode. So I will give the next episode a watch and see how I feel. But I will say I was pleasantly surprised by the writing and the direction, and Jason Sudeikis himself, I feel, is brilliant in the show. My take on the show is this. I feel like when it's firing on all cylinders, Ted Lasso is a thinking man's Ballers.
Oh, I've never seen Ballers, but
it's The Rock is like a sports agent.
Yeah, I've seen the ads. Yeah.
It's pretty dumb. At its worst, Ted Lasso is a sort of bizarro world version of The Office, where Michael Scott is the only likable character and everyone else is insufferable.
Yeah. There's a joke in there. Spock with a beard.
Yeah.
Michael with a mustache. Something. It's a flip.
Right. I really was liking Jason Sudeikis. He's indomitable. And it's almost like a wellness campaign, the way he runs his life. Very positive, very warm, and I like that. What is as someone who's been in the series, who can't get enough of Jason Sudeikis' face, what is your take on the series? What would you say to somebody who hasn't seen it to sell it?
Yeah. My take on it probably wouldn't sell it. Certainly wouldn't sell it to most of my friends who have always told me, like, without tension, there's no, there has to be,
Mm,
it has to be sad. It has to be fucked up. People have to suffer, and
hmm.
not that that's not in there, but it is super positive. And that is what I like about it. I liked, there was a movie where, who's that guy? Mallrats. He was an ex skateboarder, also mustachioed.
Jason
Uh,
Lee.
Jason Lee had a show where he righted all his wrongs.
My name is Earl.
Right. My name is Earl. It was just 100% positive. It was
Yeah.
about a guy who was a jerk and he had a list and he was going to make good. He almost died. He tried to make good on everything he ever did
Was
wrong.
he 12 stepping? Is that why he was making
I don't
amends to
think, you
everybody?
know what? You could say it was related to that. He was making amends and he had a long list and those were the episodes.
Right.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but I was like, oh, I can finally sit down and watch a show that I know will feel positive every time I watch it. That's why I like Ted Lasso. It's so positive. And the first people who asked me to watch it, I said, I'm not going to watch a sports show. It's not my thing. And of course, everyone said, it's not really a sports show. I agreed to watch one episode. And I think in that episode near the end, they come to a game. And the game is introduced by the talking heads and on the Sports Center type show. And they're like, okay, here we go. And then the next cut is, oh, a debilitating loss.
I love that.
And
Because
I
the
was
game
like,
is not important. The sports is not important.
I was like, this is my kind of sports show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we know they lost. We didn't
Right.
have to watch the game. They really use the game sparingly.
They do. And I'll tell you something else. The positivity is great because they don't double down on it by them actually winning at the end. And it's realistic because they're not as good. It's like Rocky. He goes the distance. He proves himself. He makes it hard for the champion to,
Yeah.
blow him out like they thought they would. So that's why it means something. That's why Lasso's positivity means something because it's met with resistance.
Yeah, they don't mighty duck it. They don't feel the dreams it. They don't, there's no victory.
Yeah.
The victories were the friends we made along the way. But it really is that to the reporters several times. He says, no, I mean what I said. I care more about helping these guys become better gentlemen than they are now. And
there are two things on that. One, I love that one reporter. Is it Trent Krim or something? From the
and you're going to love
this.
He gets better and better and better throughout the series. Yeah, terrific.
He's amazing. He's probably based on someone because everyone in the show pretty much is. But they've almost made him sort of like a Nick Kent of sports. Like
who's Nick Kent?
He's this music writer who wrote for NME.
He's totally a music writer.
And he's snarky. And he's a brilliant writer. He writes with bile. And anyway, just in the short time I've watched it, he's kind of almost against his will melted in the love and sweet disposition of Ted Lasso. So that's nice to see. The other thing I like about it is that you touched on earlier where, he wants to make them all great men, these people, and make them a team. And that's the real victory, which is easy for him to say because he went to manage the team as a lark and he had nothing else going on. And I love that Nate and Coach Beard call him on it and are like, we're here to win. These guys are all in the locker room to win. And even the psychologist, the sports psychologist who comes in, is like, he's like, well, everyone seems to be, happy or really they're happy about losing. Like, I love that he's not even allowed to create the world he wants positivity wise or wellness wise because people are holding him accountable to being a sports coach.
Yeah, it kind of shows you there's been 100 movies and 100 television shows with sports coaches, and they've all been real similar. If you come up with a coach who's not like those other coaches, you'll have a show with lots of stuff going on because his going against the grain will cause interesting situations.
Yeah.
A coach who's tough and pushes everyone and really drives them to get what that's not going to make anything interesting happen. You're just going to make what's always been made over and over again. If you take this coach who's way too soft on the players and way too positive and not concerned enough about winning, now you got a show because now you got characters who are like, but I am concerned about winning. And it's like, oh, well, we're going to have to meet in the middle.
Right.
And that's a show.
Conversely, though, Ted Lasso is a great new addition to the pantheon of sports coaches in TV and film. But there's zero mystery to him, like there is to, say, Gene Hackman's portrayal of the coach in Hoosiers. He doesn't walk the line equally between I care about winning and I care about winning the right way. And if you're not part of the team, you're out of here. He does it to a degree with Jamie Tart. His line in the sand keeps moving for Jamie until finally it's untenable. And one thing that he did that just apropos of nothing, I love that it's almost like an Easter egg for basketball fans when he reenacts the Allen Iverson, we talking about practice speech to Jamie Tart's face. But it was this big thing where Allen Iverson, he blew off practice or something, as most superstar basketball players do in their careers when they're tired or whatever, and they've earned the right. And some reporter called him on it in a press conference, and he went off. We talk about practice, not about the game, about practice. And Jason Sudeikis, I don't know for a fact, but it seemed like he did it verbatim, kind of a wink to sports fans, like, yeah, the guys who write this show, we understand that we respect sports fans.
The sports winks are definitely important because, can you hold that up?
This is just for the YouTube audience. My adorable little Grady. Mwah. He loves Ted Lasso.
Sorry I called you that, Grady. For a second, I thought you might be a pillow.
His pronouns are he and that.
He'll be featured in our Sanford and Son episode.
A Grady will be featured in our Sanford and Son.
A Grady, yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I see a red devil. Is that an Underwood deviled ham shirt?
No.
Oh, oh, nice.
This was a sticker that was on Curtis Mayfield's Curtis album, which is the title of a song. Yeah. Don't worry if there's a hell below. We're all going to go.
White. There was a deviled ham that came in a can with white paper and a red devil. Underwood deviled ham.
Oh, that's
Underwood,
great.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool.
The incredibly specific sports references, like the one you just mentioned, they're important because I feel like you can have sports guys watching on the edge of maybe saying like, this is unrealistic or this is written by people who don't know sports.
Yeah.
And then as each one of those little hints come in,
right.
You're like, oh, they do know sports.
They got a little sugar in their game. You thought they were just like Harvard kids who are just like, and they probably are, but it seems like Sudeikis kind of lends a heavy hand in the writing room, which is cool.
Yeah, and when they make a sports reference, it's not a Muhammad Ali or a Magic Johnson reference. It's you go Iverson. So
yeah. And that spoke to me because Iverson was one of my all-time favorite players. I love Allen Iverson.
I'm going to just go up. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say Golden State Warriors. No,
it's a sexy team, but it was the Philadelphia team that he played for that went
76ers?
to the playoffs. Yes, the Sixers. I love any team where one guy, and he was a diminutive guy, drags the team to the playoffs. They had no business being there. He didn't play with like all-stars of note. He's not like the guys today, all these guys who want to play with other stars. He dragged that team on his little tiny back. I love that.
You actually bring up a good thing about Ted Lasso because Jamie Tart was someone who could drag a team to victory, and Lasso broke him.
He did.
And
broke him with
Goldstein,
love.
Yeah, he broke him in a good way. And Roy Kent says, it's your fault. You taught him to be a team player, and now he's not a prick anymore. Because when he was being a selfish prick, he was dragging the team ahead. When he learned to be a team player full time, he started hurting the team's progress. So I'm just saying that there is a parallel there.
Yeah. And also there's a straight up nature versus nurture thing that they outline very clearly because Lasso observes Jamie Tart's father. He heard about it earlier from Tart.
Oh, yeah.
In the kind of ghost seance episode, sort of. But he saw firsthand, I don't come here to see you pass the ball, screaming in his face right before he goes off and does his Temptation Island or whatever. Tart eliminates Lasso's team from the tournament. When there's no reason for Lasso to be good to Jamie, he sends him that note, way to make the extra pass. From that point on,
yeah,
it's so beautiful. He lets him know that, like, I'm proud of you. It's the father he never had. It's the father he deserved. It's the father every kid deserves. I never had that.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
It's going to be a recurring theme here on Pop Culture Graveyard. No offense to our dads.
Well,
but,
yeah.
Right, let me just make a note.
You know what? Disclaimer.
George can't listen to this one.
Disclaimer: we love our fathers, but yeah.
Actually, I think some of the fathers have already been mentioned. I don't.
You know what? Fuck it. You are not going to listen to any podcast with men on it who are not going to give you some weird energy about their fathers. Right, I don't mean to be sexist. I'm sure women have the same shit, but men are trapped in that, I feel, to a degree.
Yeah. Well, it's a whole storyline on Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
I mean, it's several storylines, actually.
They handle it well, I think.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk a little bit about other characters? Who is your favorite character on Ted Lasso? Is it Ted Lasso?
No, it's Roy Kent. I mean, Roy Kent is just so enjoyable. Once again, here's the show. I'm like, I want something nice. And it's like, okay, the show only has one gruff, angry guy. He's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
He's a gruff, angry, really nice guy.
It makes total sense. How do you cover a big, sweet, soft heart? It's going to get killed. It's going to get hurt every time unless you put a gruff exterior on it. You know, it rings true.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of clips of interviews or something with Brett Goldstein. And apparently they were writing it and there was no actor yet for Roy Kent. And Brett Goldstein said to himself, I think I should be Roy Kent. And he made a tape and he sent it to some of the people working on the show. And they were like, yeah, you should be Roy Kent.
Wow,
but
I love
he
that.
Thought he's pretty soft-spoken and he's a very nice guy. And he thought for sure they would be like, that's why he made the tape, was because he didn't think for a second anyone would believe him when he said he should be Roy Kent.
I love stories like that. That's great. He's good on the show. I saw somewhere he's based on Roy Keane. Do you know this Irish footballer, Roy Keane?
No.
Who he's based on? I would not know Roy Keane, except that Morrissey had a song called Roy's Keane about a window cleaner. It's a definite pun on the name Roy Keane. So that's, at the time, I looked it up. But who's the really charming dude from Guadalajara who...
he's terrific.
He's terrific. Football is life.
I can't remember at the
Danny
moment. Rojas.
Danny Rojas.
The naming is good. They name well.
It's very good. He's great. He's just a burst of sunshine.
His smile, his hair, his eyes.
Yeah.
He just exudes happiness and positivity.
Yeah, he's a fun character. And I like Sam. Sam is a sweetheart.
Obisanya?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's happened with him, like as far as where you are in the series, but he's up there as far as like a storyline go. Like he is featured throughout.
Good. The big storyline that I saw play out where he kind of takes lead is where they sort of take a stand against their sponsor because they're ruining the habitat with the oil spill of his native.
Yeah, I think it was an airline.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's such a team building moment where Jamie Tart kicks it off, the first player who's not from that homeland, like Sam and the other two players, including the captain, who put tape over the name of their sponsor. But then Jamie does it and the whole team comes out that way, which is sweet.
And I think it was around the time when someone, I think a Fox News person, had told a basketball player to shut up and dribble. And
can you be more specific? I feel like every Fox News person has said that every year for the past decade.
But I think that the show saw it and decided to make their statement in the opposite direction through Sam. This is one of the subjects you cover now when you talk about something like people got to look at this show and say it's too woke.
Well, you know what? Here's what I don't get about the whole anti-woke culture. 80% of the things today, maybe 85, are non-woke. Why the fuck do we have to hear these people complain about the 20% that's woke? You would think that they are assaulted on all sides, on all platforms of media, 24/7. I can't escape it. I grew up in the time of radio. You left a store that was playing a song. You get in your car, it's playing the song. You get home, you turn on a stereo, it's playing the same song.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to put up with that anymore. Everyone is so self-contained with what they consume. I don't understand the anti-woke culture. Primarily it's usually like one character in a show.
We talked about this with the Barney Miller episode. It takes place in a neighborhood. The neighborhood has people in it. The people come through the doors. Some of those people are going to be gay. Some of those people are going to be black. Some of those people, so on and so forth. Oh, I don't know how many episodes there are in this soccer show, but there's a lot of people. And some of these people are going to be gay. And some of these people, otherwise, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's realistic to have these people. And if you think it's unrealistic to treat them well, it very well may be unrealistic to treat them well. But maybe it's trying to make a point. Maybe it's trying to teach a lesson.
And also, maybe some people deserve to be seen. Maybe some people deserve to see themselves on the screen. And you know what? Their viewership is more valuable than yours if you're some casual viewer. And this is the first time some trans kid or some black woman or some saw themselves in a certain type of show for the first time. That's worth more than your casual viewership.
I can't even imagine what that feels like, because every character has been me for my entire life. People say to me like, I don't like that new Daily Show guy. I can't relate to him. I'm like, yeah, it's about time. It's about time.
You've been comfortable for 40-something years.
Yeah. All right.
One thing that I was pleasantly surprised at is we're hearing about this despicable character who used to be the owner of the team, who is the ex of the lead woman, Rebecca Walton, played by Hannah Waddingham, who is great. We meet her husband finally, and I'm overjoyed to see my old pal Rupert Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I never saw Buffy.
He was the Watcher. Yeah. I loved him on that. He was great on that. And in this show, he plays the owner, a wonderful, delicious, despicable turn. And he's just pitch perfect. I love that addition to the cast. It shows you that they're really paying attention to second-tier characters, third-tier characters. There's no weak links on the show.
And British despicable is great despicable.
Oh, it's Bond villain territory.
It's so hateable for Americans. Yeah.
This guy's up to no good, and he's probably 5 chess moves ahead. You know?
Yeah, he's scary that way. He's scary. It's like, what is this guy capable of? Because financially and morally, he's capable of anything. Like, how far will he go? And you haven't seen the whole thing.
No.
Right. So you don't know how far he goes.
Yeah. As someone who has gone 15 episodes or so, would you tell me, if you like what happened so far, you're going to love where it's headed? Or would you tell me, you know what, you've seen the best it has to offer. It goes in some places I wasn't crazy about, but stick with it. It's well written. It's well done.
I guess I would say that you're in for both. I would love to say, like, it really, it really gets down and it really gets deep. I think it realizes that it can be this saccharine sweet thing and get away with it. And it keeps doing it. You're going to see more of that Christmas feel. They break it up with some stuff, some pretty good stuff, but it leans into the happiness, personally, in a good way.
I'm looking forward to leaning into some happiness. God knows I need it.
Yeah, there's a couple of departure. There's maybe one. I'm not sure if there's more than one, but there's a departure episode, which is a thing now.
Departure episode like Fred and Lamont go to Hawaii?
Yeah, sort of.
Really?
Which is funny because I was just about to say something old shows never did. But it's like following one character down a road that is completely removed from the game, completely removed from the other characters, really has almost no bearing on the show. But it's like, this would be fun to see what this guy does one day.
I just went to the IMDb page to jot down some character names so I would have them handy. And there was a picture that I could not avoid at the top. It's Nate standing opposite Ted Lasso. They're like face to face. And I'm like, in the future, does he become a coach that like plays him or something? But never mind.
Maybe, yeah. It's funny that actually points out to me that you operate the way I operate. if I'm watching something I really care about, I won't even go to an IMDb page because I consider a circle with a picture of the actor in it a possible spoiler.
Yes.
He
the
could be
same way.
wearing a nicer suit. He
Right.
could have a haircut. I really dislike spoilers, and people are like, "Oh, there's no spoilers." And then I'm like, "Oh my God, that was full of spoilers." And they're like, "What?" They don't say anything about the plot. I'm like, "You're not watching very closely if you think
Yeah.
that's not a spoiler."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The character now has a crown on its head. Like, whoa, someone became king.
All right, let me ask you, because I
Yeah.
felt when I'm watching these things now, I'm watching them like, what did Hollis think of this? What did Hollis think of that? Which is an interesting way to watch television now.
Everyone should watch that way.
I'm trying not to let it infect everything. Oh, I wonder what Hollis would think of these eggs. But I think that you would be fairly happy with the soundtrack. Are you?
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised a few times. I will say this.
There's some obvious choices. It's not perfect.
There are some obvious choices. They do what every show does now and every movie does now, which is different from how they used to do it when I was coming up. They use songs to convey emotion and to convey a feeling, and you have to totally disregard the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like that, but I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is an aggressive song. So
it's a nice day. Let's play Golden Brown.
Yeah. And I maybe it's just because I'm frustrated because I would love that job and I think I'd do it 1,000 times better because I choose songs that actually spoke to what was going on.
Yeah. But you looked hard enough to find the feel. Keep looking and you'll find the feel and the lyrics.
Yeah. Once you've found the feel, listen to the song, read the lyrics and see if it like totally is against it. Because some of these songs are done tongue in cheek. Some of these songs are actually against what you're trying to convey. And some of these artists would turn over in their grave if they knew what you were using it for.
Yeah. Right up there with a Republican Born in the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or what's that one? Millionaire Son.
Oh, Fortunate Son by Creedence.
Fortunate Son. Yeah.
Yeah,
these are completely misread songs.
Right.
The first song other than the theme is God Save the Queen. And I was like, okay, that's going to get a point with Hollis. God Save the Queen plays when Ted Lasso's plane is landing in England. I liked it there. It doesn't, because it's not saying there's nothing going on in the plot. It's establishing we're in England.
At least it's not London Calling. If I have to hear that one more time, oh, they're going to England? I got the song for you.
Yeah. Big Audio Dynamite tracks would have done it too.
Oh my God, I love Big Audio Dynamite. Yeah. Just try harder.
How is there not a Big Audio Dynamite song in this entire series? Maybe there is and I missed it, but I didn't hear one, and that seems crazy.
Should be.
There was a couple of things. There was Tribe Called Quest is in there. Biz Marquee is in there. Christmas in Hollis is in the Christmas episode. But then I'd give him credit for Christmas in Hollis, but Christmas in Hollis that's like putting Jingle Bells in your Christmas episode.
It's so crossed over. It's mainstream.
And I just picture everyone making the show being like, pretty cool, right? And it's like, no, it was cool like the first, second, third, fourth, and 15th time someone used Christmas in Hollis.
Right. Now I do respect him dropping old school hip hop in the dressing room. There was one thing that cracked me up. Just because this band, the Gin Blossoms, was everywhere when I was in college. And, real earworms, like catchy pop songs. So nothing against Gin Blossoms. But it was kind of funny. His second in command, actually, Coach Beard said to him, like, you're your favorite Gin Blossom song. And he was like, Follow You Down? He's like, no, Hey Jealousy. Like he was calling him jealous. And he's like, no. Hey Jealousy is their best song. My favorite Gin Blossom song is Follow You Down. I appreciate those little detours.
Those moments are great. And Beard delivers a lot of them. And
he's the secret weapon. He's kind of like Chewie to Lasso's Han Solo, He almost speaks a language no one else does. He's a translator for Lasso a lot.
Yes. And it's a reminder that people love to see two people who are so close.
A shorthand.
And to have Beard know Lasso so well and vice versa. People revel in that, that friendship is so beautiful. I think I mentioned to you that I think of it's a bit lofty for Lasso and Beard, but the two gentlemen from Lonesome Dove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Duvall and if you're talking about the the TV series,
Mm-hmm.
Duvall and Every Outhouse, something house, the
Tommy Lee Jones.
Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones.
I want a hard target search of every hen house, dog house, and outhouse.
So we just did a little Gin Blossom shorthand.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a second house.
Yeah.
And
we'd be great on password.
Outhouse, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Oh, I want to ask, what do you feel about Juno Temple on the show? Keely.
To our listeners, Keely. Yeah.
Keely. I really, really liked Juno Temple in The Offer, the story about Alan Ruddy making The Godfather, which was a fantastic limited series. She was great in that. But usually I'm not a fan of Juno Temple, but she's good in this. Her character in The Offer had a lot of the same qualities where, she's kind of lost and she's kind of finding herself again. She was one thing and she's transitioning into being something else and becoming more, almost jumping up a notch in how she feels about herself and her own self-confidence. And so I like that, and she's great in it. And I like that she even jumped from one footballer who did not do anything for her emotionally or mentally to another footballer who at first glance is a lot more work, but is so much more rewarding in her life. Yeah. And really formed something special with her. So let's talk about Juno Temple and her job as as Keely.
Well, I've never seen her before.
Really?
Yeah. I think eventually I'm going to say I never saw that one too many times, and people are going to go, why is Hollis talking to this guy? He's never seen anything.
But I don't think that's true, first of all. I think she was in a lot of things.
Oh, I probably have seen her and don't remember.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's totally possible. My first thought when I only know her name because I looked at IMDb before we got started. Who's her dad?
The artist and director, Julian Temple, who was a big fan of and friend of the Sex Pistols. He did the best Sex Pistols documentary. Okay,
well, I personally didn't recognize her. It was my first time seeing her, and I thought she was great. And someone even asks her, like, the owner, Rebecca, she asks her, what is it that you do? And she's like, says something like, I'm adjacent to famous, or, like she takes her Paris Hilton style fame and becomes a person who actually does something.
Does things for others and elevates them.
Like a lot of people do in this show. This guy comes to town to coach this thing. Everyone gets caught up in the whirlpool of helping each other, and people are elevated. People wind up in better positions. People wind up better people. Me and my partner, Chrissy, we're always saying that we just want the characters to evolve.
Yes.
Like we can't watch someone do the same thing over and over again. We just eventually can't watch anymore. And I understand that Magnum PI doesn't work if people start to respect Magnum as a detective. It kills me that this guy has solved every crime on Hawaii for the past 5 years, and everyone's like, oh, that guy's a bum. I'm like, didn't he save royalty last week?
Yeah.
How is he still a bum? It's like, he has to be a bum. That's what the show's about.
They would at least respect the car.
Right, yeah. But the car is a loner. But anyway, I call it Scooby-Doo also. Like, nobody catches on that these kids are fantastic at solving mysteries.
Well, you know how old people are.
My point is that we have trouble watching a show where it's just the same thing over and over again. And if Keely remained this vapid, famous for being famous, it's a thing. It's more a thing now than ever. And don't put that person in your show unless you're going to raise them throughout the show, unless you're going to raise them up.
Yes. And far too often people do that. They take a character like she's drawn in the beginning, and they just leave that character there for comic relief. There's such a thing of like punching down now. And there's been such a kind of like bullying mentality that happens. And, people used to throw stones upward and speak truth to power. But shows like this that address it early on and have that character not put up with something they put up with 2 episodes earlier is only ever
That's
a good
everything.
thing.
That's everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Why couldn't Wojo have learned the way Keely learned?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Also, I love the way Jamie Tart says Keely.
I was just going to bring him up.
Keely.
Yeah.
He does it so well.
He's such an interesting character. I think here's my macro take on Ted Lasso. It is an American series masquerading as a British series. The only thing British about it is the backdrop, with one notable exception, Jamie fucking Tart. He is so uncut.
He is. He's pure British. It's great.
He is 100% uncut Cockney,
South
British,
London,
any kind of self-applying London thing that a Londoner
South
would
with
say
an
about
F. London.
South. He is that and more. He is the flagpole to which British people can watch that show and rally around. And he's so spot on, not just in his portrayal and his look. He's got that beautiful, like Beckham star quality, but also if he happened today, and they do happen today, he would totally go on Temptation Island.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever
absolutely.
island that is.
He would blow his career.
He would blow his career up. It was an outsized meltdown because he does everything bigger than life. He wouldn't just have an internal meltdown and go away and stay on an island by himself. He would go on an island with cameras and crews and make everyone there hate him as an individual, the way every team hates him. Yeah.
Just going to various places until you run out of people to make hate you. But again, the show takes a guy like that and says, let's take a guy like that and let's not kick him around forever. Let's kick him around a little in the beginning and then let's elevate him. And
redeem him.
Yeah, they redeem and elevate everyone. How far along are you? You made it to, I think, 2-4. Or 2-5.
Yeah, second season, episode 5. I've seen.
So you're already seeing Tart improve as a human being.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that Tart did not make an appearance in the Christmas episode because they couldn't find someone for him to do.
Shite.
Yeah, well, he's not dating Keely anymore. He wouldn't go to the team dinner at Leslie Higgins' house.
Both of those names are perfect.
Yeah, again, you brought up Magnum PI. There's your Higgins.
Right,
because all of the team members there are all kind of orphans. They're from different countries, so they're all there. Ostensibly, Jamie is local. He has his own family, although why you'd want to eat with that father, I have no idea. But in the episodes before it, he very much becomes a part of the team. And I'm looking forward to seeing him walk that line because I'm sure he's going to falter on either side from time to time between being a team player and being Jamie fucking Tart.
Yeah, and that's character development, and that's like, have your sweet show.
Yeah,
but do the work, have the characters evolve, and it's not easy. There's a bunch of that's the thing about a soccer team. Who knows how many guys are on a soccer team? I don't know, 20, 12,
right?
And they've scaled down the staff. I mean,
like
they're like, let's pretend that it's the team, the kit guy. And 2 coaches, but
well, you can't have everybody. It's kind of like
you can't do.
You got to do a league of their own thing, where it's like all you know about the backup catcher is that she's from Saskatoon or something. Everyone else gets the name and the kind of nickname but I really like the core. I like the diversity on the show. I like that everyone's represented, even the pig-headed people, even the kind of. I like that progress is represented, and I like that progress has to keep continually crashing up against the brick walls in the form of certain characters, because then everybody's represented. And that's a show for everybody.
I can say this. You've got several great episodes to look forward to.
Okay, good.
We talked about endings when we talked about Barney Miller. And for instance, MASH tried to do their ending as a finale. They tried to just it's so important that this be the end all and be all episode. I feel like this show goes quietly. It's like, let's have a bunch of cameos, let's ring some familiar bells and wrap it up.
Question. So 3 seasons?
3 seasons.
I love it. My thing with shows is always, I watch season 1 and I think this is fantastic. Finally, somebody is bringing back that old Hill Street Blues mentality, that old kind of like a smart show, kind of interpersonal communication and delicate political balances and all kinds of like human to human stuff, which is not easy, and handles it well and deftly. And then season 2 of Friday Night Lights started. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I was out after like 5 episodes. I was like, no, keep it. Because season 1, usually you have all this time, like a band's first album. You have all these years, your whole career to craft an album.
Right.
And it's fantastic. And then you have 6 months to do the next one. You get a big deal to write a new series or a new thing. And it's like from the creators of, and you strike while the iron is hot and you cut corners. Underlings are left behind to do season 2 and 3. It very rarely gets better. So
and
I'm
also
happy
season 1 was great. So a bunch of people saw that and like, get me involved, I want in, I want in. And then they're all going to help ruin it.
Right. Yeah. And it takes away what was great about it because it becomes something else.
There's a lot to be said for planning on your number of seasons. I think Ricky Gervais says 3 seasons and a movie. That's it.
That's sweet. Like, that's perfect. I hate that guy, but that's a good
I'm going to say, never mind a bunch of other stuff. I find him funny, but I have a bunch of issues.
But I like what you said. I'm looking forward to the season enders because it's naturally built. TV series have seasons and sports teams have seasons. It's such a natural. And it's perfect, but I like that it goes out after 3. I was going to say, do you think Olivia Wilde had anything to do with it just being 3? And do you think Sudeikis, his life became a raging sea and he decided to cap it at 3?
I got enough going on.
I got too much going on.
Yeah. I don't know what made it be 3 seasons. I'm just glad that it is.
Right.
These shows, they just devolve. I mean, The Office is bizarre in its de-evolution. Insane what that show started doing.
It had its satisfying moments and there were certain storylines that were fun and whatever, but after a while it was a place I didn't want to work.
I'm a glutton for punishment though. I used to be able to say I've seen every episode and offshoot of The Walking Dead.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was waiting for your faith to drop.
I tried not to.
I can no longer say that I've seen everything because they have returned on that faucet, or it was shut off by the writer's strike. But
you're stuck in a multiverse, my friend.
Oh my God, it's
everywhere.
It is pathetic what they do to keep that show going. Everything's out of gas. There's nothing interesting. The zombies aren't interesting. Interpersonal things aren't interesting.
I'm excited that everything is running out of gas. I'm excited that Marvel movies are running out of gas. I'm excited that the zombie thing, the everything. Nothing against it. And people that love those movies, fine. And I like a lot of those movies. But enough already with making that every movie. Bring back the mid-list author of movies. Bring back the kind of like, where's my Kramer versus Kramer to balance out my rollerball? Like,
but you see it coming, right? You see it coming. What's that one we just saw about the college professor played by Giamatti?
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, and doesn't it look just sort of like good?
Yeah, you got to allow these movies to be mediocre. It's like females in stand-up won't have come as far as they deserve to come until women have the right to be as mediocre as men.
Yeah, that's
like women are such great comics now, but you see them and they got to be fucking Jimi Hendrix to get more than one woman on a comedy bill. Meanwhile, guys are allowed
exactly
to just
what
suck.
they claim. It fits exactly what they claim, which is I had to be twice as good to get half of what you get. Yes, and that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
We're going to need that attitude for movies and television.
Absolutely.
We're going to need
right. So wrapping up Ted Lasso, I didn't think I'd be saying this when I started it, but I'm going to finish the series and then we will personally talk about it. But you've done all 3 seasons?
I've watched every episode.
And you feel like beginning to end, highly recommended seasons 1, 2, 3?
I do. Okay. I recommend it.
Great.
I'm hesitant for a moment because I know that our sensibilities are different.
Yeah, but I've liked what I've seen.
If you like what you've seen, those characters continue to be themselves and continue to grow. So how bad could it be?
Let's leave it there. I will put up with Jason Sudeikis' face brick-walled on my Apple TV from now on without raging.
It's a nice face.
Well, now that I understand that expression on his face.
Right.
And that is,
right.
he's exuding that character. It makes it a lot easier to take.
That's a weird thing to imagine. It's a still photograph that is exuding Ted Lasso.
It really is.
Yeah. So it's got to look strange to someone who doesn't know Ted Lasso. Is like, who is this Ned Flanders motherfucker?
Yeah.
Why does he look like that?
He's really letting the mustache do the talking in a lot of that.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Fun as always.
Absolutely, Hollis.
All right. Have a good one, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers, mate.
Hollis and Dave would like to thank you for enjoying Pop Culture Graveyard.